Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you're here. If you're new, I'm Jimmy. We're gonna make it work. Well, it's called Jimmy Making It Work, but that's because we make it work. We're gonna do 62 Chevy C10 project video today. I got a little bit of work to do on the wheel wells. I'm not gonna film that, it'll be repetitive. I already had the video from last Sunday doing that. I got one more wheel well to finish up. I'm gonna do that real quick. Hopefully the weather holds out. I bought all the bedwood and the strips, and we're gonna start doing that. Stay tuned. I got these wheel wells, all little rust spots, every rust hole it was going through, I welded and ground down. A lot of them I just used my little copper piece and welded where the hole was because the metal is actually solid around the hole. It's really unusual. Maybe someone who knows a lot about welding and metallurgy and all that metal stuff can tell me why a flat piece of metal would have a pinhole of rust somewhere. I'm assuming it's some kind of weak spot in the alloy or something like that. But anyway, I welded all of them up. I put some tabs in the really bad sections where I wanted the carriage bolts to not spin, things like that. I'll let this dry. Now, before you do any bedwood stuff, you got to take a tape measure and go from corner to corner and corner to corner and make sure they're the same measurements because the bed's got to be square. And what I'll do is I'll just get it close to where I think it's supposed to be. Then I'll be able to start sliding the bedwood in, make all my marks. 103 3/4. I've adjusted it and now I'm measuring it a second time. I think it's just 1/8 of an inch off. Just give the right side a shove and measure it again. Now we should be 103 5/8 on both sides. Winner, chicken dinner. Now I can tighten down my main support in the back. I'll be able to make my wood marks. I am going to tighten all the cross members down after putting bolts through the cross members and the side panels. I'm going to tighten everything down before I even slip the wood in there. Now it's time to go in here, tighten up the front cross members. We're getting close. All I'm doing is if the cross member is a little forward or backward from the hole, then I'm lining the cross member up with my holes. There you go. Ideally, you lay all the bolts, you lay all the wood in place, you lay all the bolts through the existing holes from the factory, you square everything up, and then you tighten everything down. But I got a custom aftermarket wood kit that has no holes in it. Save a little money. I thought it was you save a lot of money, so if you saved a lot of money, then you do it the way I did. But when you save a little, I shouldn't have because the difference is $30, and now I gotta figure all the hole mounts out. It is what it is. That one's lined up now. Man, we are gonna have a truck on the road soon. I can feel it. I didn't clean this part up as much because the wood goes over it. I'm basically making them as tight as this 9/16 gear wrench, ratchet wrench will allow me without it really hurting my hands bad. But I definitely want to tighten them now instead of after all the wood's in, because then things can shift and it's harder to get to, etc., etc. All right, we are in like Flynn. Feeling pretty good about that. Let's get some wood, see what we can get done. Now it might seem kind of strange, but they don't cut the notches because the bed can't go under the brace that holds the back of the cab up. So there has to be a notch there on both sides. So we use a hacksaw. I actually prefer a hacksaw for finished wood and for small pieces that you're not going to cut a lot. It would take a long time to build a house that way, but works perfectly for this sort of thing. Well, interesting. I'm gonna have to loosen these bolts in the back of the bed. All right, guys, I'm having a little problem getting this wood under the piece I had to add here where it was rusty. I went back to putting the wheel tubs in first like I'm kind of supposed to. I thought it'd be easy to fit the 4 corner pieces in without the wheel tubs first, but long story short, I don't have a choice. So we're gonna sort this out, and I'm gonna put all the bolts in inside here. All these bolts go up in the wheel well gaps. Goes all the way around, and 7 on each side. So we're gonna get that in. Then we'll come back and see if that piece of wood will fit. All right, we're gonna put some of this wood in here. I've got a whole bunch of it. Just gotta figure out where it all goes. I got 2 boxes, and it says I just opened the box. Of course, you don't open the box right away till you're ready for it. And you open the box, it says, warning, do not store long term without putting protectant on the wood because it will warp in the box. But you don't know that till you open the box. But hopefully none of it's warped that bad. It's been in my garage, pretty dry, although it has rained a lot lately. I'm procrastinating so I don't go see warped wood, but I don't have a choice. Let's do it. Now I have to set all the wood on, get everything in, lay the strips on top, get everything squared, and then make my marks, then take it all back out, drill my holes, apply my stain and my protectant, sealant, or clear coat, and then reassemble it and try not to scratch it. It's gonna be fun. All right, gotta get the last piece of wood. This is just getting it all lined up. It's pretty tedious. I thought it was gonna be easier, to tell you the truth, but I guess I'm always optimistic, like I said earlier. If you think something will take an hour, set 3 hours aside. Got to get my metal strips out. They'll really hold it in place because they're not adjustable. Oh, my mouse fell off. That's terrible news. All right, let me get the metal, I got to get the metal strips out, get these things marked, and get them out of the bed. We're getting some dark clouds. I can't let this get wet. One of the boards is already twisted. I'm hoping that the strips and the bolts are going to straighten it pretty good, but good thing it's not a show truck going for the Riddler Award. Have I said that before? The metal strips, I'm going to start from the outside in. And these are pretty forgiving as far as finding the holes, because the holes are in between the boards. If they don't line up, you have to move the boards, whether you want to or not. The good thing is the square peg and the round hole gives you a pretty good idea where the board has to go, because the metal strips are going to go line up with the hole no matter what. And if the board's forward, you got to bring it back, etc., etc. Now, I probably don't have to put all of the metal strips in here. I can probably only do the sides, because the centers just go to the holes that are in the cross member with these strips. But I still want to make sure it's all going to fit right before I drill a single hole in any of that wood. The wood kit was like $480, so, and they don't even drill the holes for you, which is kind of a good thing, because it looks like this truck has been wrecked pretty bad on the left side, and I'm seeing things in this quarter panel now and trying to shift everything, get it to line up. That's why the wood didn't want to go under the left wheel well, because there's something tweaked in that quarter panel pretty bad, and when I fixed the rust, I didn't see it. But there's something going on, like the song says. Show truck guys I've watched on YouTube doing this, they'll put all the bolts in and everything, except for the perimeter holes that you have to drill. We're not doing that. Oh, these also face the other way. There's 2 close together holes that go up front, and the far away spacing holes go in the back. Doesn't really matter, but it makes me feel better putting them the right way. I'm shimming all the boards. I'm gonna get these all lined up and we'll come back. All right, I think I've got it pretty good. You can see down here, a couple of the boards are a little bit forward. A couple of the strips are a little bit backwards, but you know, we're talking a millimeter or two. They're all pretty close considering the truck. And I want it pretty nice, but I've got them straight. I know all my outer perimeter holes are gonna line up, so I think I'm in good shape with that. I do want to tweak a couple of these boards just a little bit. I'm also noticing too that the front bed panel, it kind of does this. So what I'm going to do is the bolts just go through in between, through the holes in the bed panel, so I'll have to pull them forward. So my plan is to put all the bolts in loose and tighten them from the back to the front, and I'll do the bed panel last and have to pull it back and have the bolts hold it, hopefully. We'll see what happens with that. It's going to be a little sketch, but it's still going to look way better than that diamond plate did, I think. I'm not going to paint the strips. They're going to stay zinc plated. I have a fairly dark, a reddish brown stain for the wood. That's what we're going to do once I'm going to put all the holes in it, pull it all back apart, and then we'll start staining it. The stain's going to take a while. It's got to dry. And I want to do 2 coats, I think, and it gets darker the more coats you do. I think 2 coats is going to do it. They had a couple of darker ones than what I got, but they almost look black or dark brown. I didn't want it quite that dark, but I want it on the dark side. Anyway, and then I'm going to do 2 or 3 coats of the clear. I got the the really good Minwax heavy traffic clear coat. They have several different kinds of polyurethane clear. So now I'm going to go around and mark my holes. Now I'm doing a square mark, even though it's only going to be a circular. They're 1/4 inch on the insides and 5/16 around the perimeter. And while I have this back apart too, I'm going to also take a really good look at this quarter panel alignment and see what's going on with that, because there's something going on. Now I can use Sharpie. If there was anything that was ever going to be visible, you got to use pencil. Don't use Sharpie on something that's not going to be covered up. This is going to all be covered. All right, now it's time to start drilling these holes and all this wood. There's not really that many holes. I don't know, maybe 20, 25 holes. I'm going to use a piece of wood. They send you a sample if you want to test stains and stuff, but I'm not doing that. I know what I want. But you got to put something behind the wood that you care about, because otherwise when it gets to the back, it'll push out and you'll make a big splinter. So I just put something behind there to drill into. I know this is automotive channel, but now we're doing carpentry. It's just how it works with an old rig. So let's go ahead and drill a few of these, and then I'm gonna make you guys watch them all. We'll come back after I'm done. We'll just start with a few of them. I got a drill bit. It's just under 3/8. It's a 5/16 or a 1/4 inch bolt in most of these holes. I believe they're all 5/16 actually. This went up one size, so I got a little wiggle room. Don't push too hard, be patient. I'm using wood bits. They give me a little splinter, but nothing terrible. What I'm gonna do is sand these edges with some 220 or 180, whatever I have around that's pretty similar to that. I am using metal bits. I don't have wood bits because I'm not a carpenter. These will work, they just probably take a little longer. They're probably actually gentler when they come through the other side, I'm guessing, but I'm not sure. You have to push a little harder than you would with a wood bit, I think, because it fills with wood and kind of stops it from cutting. Tell you what, it comes through the back side pretty quick, even with a back brace. Let's see what that looks like. Splintering them all a tiny bit. Looks like using my step drill beforehand. I used a tiny pilot drill, and then I used my step drill to cut a chamfer. And that seems to give me the best results, but it still splinters no matter what I do. Of course, like I said earlier, I don't have wood bits. I have them at home, and I didn't bring them. I didn't think it would matter that much, but apparently it might. I do think it's a big issue having a wood splinter while you drill it, even with the correct bits. But I sure wouldn't have to wonder if I had them, huh? Do all these holes, and then we'll start staining. And we'll come back when we're ready to do that. All right, all my holes are drilled. Gonna do a little cleanup work and sand some stuff, and then hopefully we'll get to put a coat of stain on them today. I need a lot of room to lay these all out and stain these things. I'm sanding with my trusty Snap-on DA. I've had this thing for years, probably bought it 4 or 5 project cars ago. Don't use it a lot. It's got 180 on it. Just knock the sharp edges down. Especially where I cut it. Well, you guys don't want to watch me sand all these, do you? Especially with the camera too high. This is what it would have looked like if it was aimed right in the first place. This thing's real gentle. It's a dual orbital sander. Not like a grinder that spins in one direction. It kind of just orbits and does like a... Alright, I'm going to finish sanding these. When we come back, we'll be putting some stain on them. I'm going to blow the dust off. If I wipe them down and get them wet, I got to wait for it to dry. A little sharp air will help. I'm going to do the bottom side first, since I care about that side the least, and the top side second, care about that side the most. So the drips will favor going to the downside. When I do the clear, same thing. You can see where I sanded them off versus where I didn't. Make sure there's nothing loose on top. Get that stain out. I poured some Minwax into a bigger container because I can't get my little brush into the Minwax stain can. I'm gonna start going at it before the rain comes. Now you can see this is plenty dark. I didn't want black. I didn't want very, very dark brown. This is like basically a red tint to it. I try to come down to full length. This is the underside, like I said earlier, so it's more for practice. I bought a special stain brush. I felt compelled. I usually just use disposable brushes or something that disposable brushes will work. You got to be careful that the pieces don't pull out of the brush in the stain or paint you're doing. Starting from the center out. Another reason for doing the backside first, practice. If you've never done it before or you haven't done it in a while, start on the side you can't see and figure things out. If you notice splotches and stains and weird things happening, then you'll figure out not to do that and do it better on the other side. Oh, that's nice. It's got like a black cherry kind of look to it. I don't know if that comes up on camera, but I'll show you when it dries. You're not supposed to go over it more than once, but I'm gonna try to get a stain coat on all of these boards. The can says one coat, and honestly it is kind of dark, which I wanted. I thought it was going to be a little lighter than I really wanted, so I would have to do 2 coats, but it looks to me like it's going to be 1 coat because it's nice. I like the color. The first coat, nice color. And the only reason I would do another one is if I had light spots or it wasn't as dark as I wanted. Got to stain every opening, every crack and crevice, all the ends, and then the same thing with the clear. Everything's got to get it because the weather will destroy this wood and it won't take long actually. So let me finish this up and get this coat on here. We'll come back and see how they all look. I moved some boards inside because I didn't have enough room to have them all stacked here. I don't think it's going to rain. So let me finish these up and we'll come back. All right guys, battery's going dead in the DJI Pocket 2, but I wanted to mention a couple things real quick before we go. I come back about 5 minutes after the stain has started to dry and just look for light spots, and I'll just swipe across real gently. Don't press. And also try to go the full length of the board you're doing. Try not to leave mid marks. If you end up stopping in the middle, don't just smush it down and go. You got to kind of swipe it in, so that way that you don't see blotches in the stain when you're done. Try to go the full length if you can. I'm letting these dry now. And since my battery's dying, we're about ready to wrap this up. I'm going to start cleaning up, putting all this stuff away. Next weekend, we're going to install these boards and the strips and all the stainless bolts and stuff I have. So it's been my pleasure having you guys here. I hope this helped you a little bit if you're working on your 62 project truck, or if you just enjoy watching me work on mine. Either way, I'm glad to get to know you. Twerk the like button for me or subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what I did right, what I did wrong, how you might do it. And maybe click the bell and I'll see you in the next video. It's a finished product after it dries a day. I don't know if it comes up on camera that it has a red tint to it, but it's perfect, exactly what I was hoping for. I didn't want black. You can see on the wood grain it looks a little red. I'm not sure if that comes through on camera. But I'm going to do 3 coats of clear, backside first, and once that's 100% dry, turn it over and do 3 coats on the good side. And I'm going to spray Rhino line and all through the bed before I install them. All right, I hope I see you in the next video because you're awesome.